Hi friends, it's Mitzi once again with a tarot tutorial video. Today we're going to move on to the next suit of the Minor Arcana. We're going to go with swords. The suit of swords represents the element of air. It represents thinking, logic, also how to deal with challenging situations and events that put into focus your spiritual growth. So let's get started. Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords is a card that signals a breakthrough, an opportunity, a new idea, the fact that you have thoughts that you're putting together, you're starting to outline your plan. Anytime the Ace of Swords comes up in a reading, it signifies new beginnings. Reversed, it just means that again you're experiencing a blockage. Maybe you have writer's block, maybe you have all these ideas but aren't sure how to prioritize them. It isn't necessarily a negative reading if it comes up as reversed. Aces are a great card. Two of Swords, look at her. She is a woman who's blindfolded holding two swords. This speaks about blind faith. She has two options. She's weighing her choices. She isn't sure which one is right for her, except she does. She's just not ready to think about it yet. There's something stopping her from moving forward. So anytime you have the Two of Swords in a reading, it just means that you are plagued by two choices and you aren't sure which one's right for you, perhaps because you aren't ready to admit to yourself which decision is right for you, but deep down inside she knows which choice is correct for her, and she's going to trust her blind faith to help remove it. Reverse just means confusion about the situation. You're so overwhelmed by the choices that you're sort of stuck. Three of Swords. Three of Swords signifies heartache, betrayal, deep pain, sorrow. Anytime this comes up in a reading, usually the querent has experienced something painful or is going through something painful in their life. Reverse, this card means that you're moving forward, you're getting over the situation. You figured out how to put one foot before the other. Four of Swords is a card of rest and relaxation. You're being asked to take a moment to care for yourself and to be in touch with what it is that you need, to gather your thoughts and put them in order. Again, Swords is a suit of intellect. So sometimes we tend to overthink and overanalyze ourselves, and right before we're about to burn out, we just need to have that moment, and this card is asking you to take that moment. Reverse, it means you've taken too long a moment and now you need to move forward with your plans. Five of Swords. Five of Swords, look at him. He's holding three swords. Two guys are walking away all sad. So even though he won the battle, he didn't win the war. Five of Swords talks about situations in which you may be engaging in a battle of wits, a battle of words. You're fighting all the fights you possibly can, but you haven't taken a moment to decide if it's the right thing to do. So pick your battles. This card is a reminder to pick your battles. You don't need to win every argument, especially if it doesn't add to the greater good. Reverse, it means that you are walking away from this tendency to pick your battles. You have evolved, you have matured, you know which arguments are worth your time. Six of Swords speaks of a rite of passage, of moving forward, of being able to acknowledge the past and having confidence in where you're going towards. Reverse means you haven't quite accepted that evolution and you're struggling a bit. Seven of Swords means mischievous, sneaky, underhanded, manipulative behavior. In a relationship reading, this usually means an affair or cheating, or that someone's trying to get away with something. Reversed, it means that you are not affected by those themes, that you are moving away from that and are a better person. So it's actually a good card to get reversed. Eight of Swords. This card is really hard for a lot of people, but if you look really closely, it's very self-explanatory. It's a blindfolded woman who's barely tied up, surrounded by swords. That means that she feels stuck in her situation and doesn't know how to get out of it, except she does, but isn't making an effort to move forward. If she just wiggled a little bit, she'd get out of her ropes and, walk away from the situation, but she's unwilling to do it. So if this card comes up, it's because you have self-imposed issues for yourself that you needn't. Reverse, it means that you are walking away from that period of time where you did that, where you basically imprisoned yourself and are now a better, wiser person, and you're not doing that anymore. Nine of Swords speaks of depression, grief, sorrow, paranoia, anxiety. When this card comes up, people are genuinely not feeling at their very best. Reverse means that you are walking away from feeling helpless and depressed, that you are starting to feel better and are starting to see the light. Ten of Swords speaks of endings. In this case, a deep sense of loss, a deep sense of betrayal, a deep challenge, some kind of obstacle that basically made you transform yourself, right? Like it's almost like you died and then were born again. But that process is so incredibly painful. This is such a painful card. I mean, talk about death by multiple stabbings, right? But sometimes we need to undergo this type of pain to have emotional maturity, to have appreciation for the things that we're surrounded by. Reversed, it means that you are moving away from that pain. You've endured it, you've grown, you've learned your lesson, and now you're starting over, you're starting fresh, and your life is better than it was before because you're a wiser person. Now we're going to deal with our court cards. Remember, I like to think of court cards as people I know because it's so much easier to remember who they are. So pages are kids. So this is a kid who is really excited about coming to you with news about new beginnings, new projects, but they don't have the wherewithal to really think through the plans. So if this card comes up, it simply means that while you might be excited about your project, you're not sure where to start and you might need help. You might need guidance. Reverse, it means you're experiencing a blockage in that guidance. So again, be open to advice and constructive criticism. Knight of Swords is like the teenager. Look at him. He's all excited. He's gung-ho. He's ready for battle. He doesn't care if there's no plan. He's going to make one up as he goes along. He's got a sword. But we don't always need to go into battle without knowing what to do. In fact, and if you're going to go and challenge somebody, make sure that you do have a plan of action, that you do understand the pros and cons of what you're doing. Knight of Swords doesn't. He's impetuous, he's impulsive, he can't wait. He's got a sword, he can't wait to use it. Don't be that guy. Be the person that's a little smarter, and has a plan and is able to see the pros and cons and what the consequences could be and how to react to them. Reversed, you're being smart about that situation. You do have a plan. You are going to take a moment, a breather, before you act. Queen of Swords is a female energy, or the person in your life that is a strong intellectual woman. She is a thinker. She is a planner. She's strategic. She might show her love in detached ways. But that doesn't mean she doesn't love you. It just means that she's thinking about the bigger picture. She might be a Gemini or a Libra or an Aquarius, right? The Queen of Swords is probably a person with a lot of those elements in their personality. Reversed, this is a very bitchy, snipey person, a person who is ruthless with her words, and isn't very kind. And if you don't have a person like that in your life, then this card could be referring to you. So be on the lookout for those types of behaviors. And last but not least, we have our King of Swords. This man or male energy is an intellectual. He uses logic and reasoning to get ahead, to rule his empire, to take care of his house. He is a thinker, not exactly a doer. So he's like the armchair person in your life that sits and thinks of these wonderful, grandiose ideas and And rather than do them himself, he delegates. Like, he's like, we should build a house. I'll call an architect and have them draw some plans, and then I'll call a contract crew and have them build the house. You see how he himself did not directly build your house, but he thought of ways to get things done. That's the King of Swords behavior. That's the King of Swords attitude. Reverse, this is a tyrannical, manipulative man who probably engages in gaslighting and uses words against you. And again, if there isn't a person in your life that is like this, then it could be you that might have a tendency to behave in this fashion. So this was our walkthrough through the suit of swords, guided by air. Again, it is best represented by elements of Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. It's logical, it's thinking, it's detached, it's all about challenges that we might face. And it's good to have an arsenal of swords wherever you go, simply because you never know when you're going to be engaging in a battle of wits. Thanks so much for watching, friends. Until next time.